Today I'm in Bois Cemetery in the Swiss city of Lausanne. Today I'm looking for the grave of the legendary fashion designer Coco Chanel. She was born in France in 1883 and her real name was Gabrielle Chanel. Coco Chanel was only 12 years old when her mother died. Coco and her two sisters were abandoned by their father and they grew up in an orphanage. And this is where Coco learned to sew. She opened a hat shop in Paris in 1910 with the help of a wealthy lover. Her lover at the time was Arthur Boy Capel. He supported Coco's lavish lifestyle and he financed her second boutique in Paris in 1913. The legendary fashion designer created the iconic pieces such as the little black dress and the Chanel suit, as well as Marilyn Monroe's favourite perfume, Chanel No. 5. She was inspired to create the Chanel suit after borrowing tweed jackets from an English lover. She adapted the look into a feminine and sophisticated suit. She closed her salon when World War II started, saying that it wasn't the time for fashion. And during the Nazi occupation of France, she was believed to have been involved with a German officer by the name of Hans Gunther von Dicklich. She was accused of being a collaborator, but she denied any wrongdoing. At the end of the war, Coco was interviewed on suspicion of being a Nazi collaborator. She was not formally charged as a collaborator due to the intervention of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who was a friend of Coco Chanel. Her reputation had been damaged and she went into self-imposed exile in Switzerland. Following the end of the Cold War, some declassified documents strongly suggested that Coco Chanel was a high-level Nazi collaborator. Some recently discovered documents seem to suggest that Coco Chanel was involved with the French resistance, but these documents are heavily contradicted against the evidence that she was a Nazi collaborator. Let me know what you think in the comment section. She didn't make her comeback into fashion until 1954, by which time she was 71 years of age. This is quite a large cemetery, but I believe she's buried somewhere in the centre of the cemetery. The only thing is, there's so many trees here, it's hard to make out where the centre is. It would appear that the cemetery is split in two by this road, and I was actually in the wrong part, in the wrong side of the cemetery. Okay, I'm in the correct side of the cemetery now. After Coco Chanel made her comeback, she reintroduced her classic designs and launched new ones, including a new perfume, Chanel 19. There's one other notable grave I'm trying to find here. Try and find that grave before finding Coco Chanel's. The other notable grave I want to show you is in this section here. Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympic Games. He set up the International Congress, and in 1894 the first games were held in Athens, and they were held every 4 years. He was honorary president of the IOC until his death in 1937. And he's buried here, but actually his heart was removed and his heart was buried in Olympia. Coco Chanel's grave is only a short distance away from here. I believe the grave is in this section here. Ah, here we are. Gabrielle Chanel, 1883 to 1971. There's a marble bench there. Coco Chanel was working on her spring collection when she died on January 10th, 1971. And she died at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. And she was 87 years of age. She had lived in Switzerland for two periods in her life. Firstly, from 1945 to 1954. This would be the period where she was being accused of being a Nazi collaborator. Second time was from 1966 up until her death in 1971. This must have been like the plan for this area must have been for it to be like two plots, I think. But it's just Coco Chanel who's buried here. As well as designing clothes, Coco designed the jewellery for Chanel. Chanel's interlocking C logo was actually designed by Coco. She also designed her own gravesite. Coco Chanel was a Leo, and the lions on the headstone relate to her star sign. There's 5 lions, as her lucky number was 5. The floral designs on the grave have changed many times over the years. I don't know if it's me that's lucky, but there never seems to be any people about when I visit famous graves. And this is the perspective you get when you're sitting on the marble bench. I'll just go over there, just so you can have another perspective. Okay, now you can see the whole section where she's buried in.